works of fiction, and nobody should be referencing them. It's bewildering where people focus on my adolescence, claiming I was bullied. So fucking what? It was no more or less than any other kid, so who fucking cares? Everyone in school gets bullied and is bullied. People need to get a fucking life and stop embellishing stories to push their agendas. I always had a lot of friends, and as a teen I actually worked as a professional ballet dancer, and during competitions at Russian studios, I was a very social teen. People don't know my life, they weren't there. Also, I was hardly, if ever, on the internet. I was almost never on the internet. I rarely spent any time online. There has been an absolute destruction of the truth, and people need affirmation instead of information. I was in no way, ever, I repeat, ever, did I ever have any alias internet accounts. Zero evidence exists linking me to any alias internet accounts. The police leaking unsubstantiated theories to the press is not evidence. At trial, it was exposed that cowardly internet stalkers impersonated me, one of them being David McGowan, a client of mine from New York City, introduced to me by my lawyer, Romeo Salta. The police, as usual, leaked unsubstantiated theories to the press before trial, trying to control their narrative. It's slander and it's lies. I'm not accustomed to relitigating issues of the past, but I've been attacked for years. People are so stupid. I had a lot of photos of myself because it was my job. It was my job to have photos of myself. If stalkers steal my photos and repost them and impersonate me, I find it pathetic. The imbeciles in the failing media attributed hundreds of alias internet accounts to me, but these accounts are still in use and they look like complete morons for making defamatory accusations. How can anyone prove who posted something online unless they've seen them doing it with their own eyes? It's all lies and fake news. It's incoherent stupidity. Firstly, I adore animals, and secondly, I was never questioned, charged, or convicted of any animal cruelty. Don't believe the lying fake news media. As I've said, the doctor reports done at my trial are all lies and can't be referenced. I'm told some irrelevant losers online were trying desperately to link me to some crush videos. These imbeciles, whom I've never heard of, couldn't link me to anything and failed miserably. I have zero idea who any of these rejects are. I'm also told that I was being accused of entering their Facebook groups using aliases. I've never heard of something so ridiculously stupid. I had zero idea anyone was linking me to any animal cruelty videos. One day my lawyer contacted me and suggested I speak to a New York City attorney about some accusations he'd seen. I had zero idea any of these internet stalkers were obsessing over me. I was too busy working. I told my New York City attorney, Romeo Salta, about these ridiculous accusations, and then I completely forgot about them. If blundering morons want to feel important by using my name to advance themselves, I find it pathetic. I repeat, never played any cat and mouse game online with anyone. I was impersonated, and all these so-called online detectives look like complete desperate fools. I have no idea who any of them are, and it's all laughable. Using me to propagate a fictitious story to gain attention is pretty low. You must be in two places at once to prove someone is posting online. non-existent connections to me to gain attention, and I find it very pathetic. I never spoke to a single person there. Liars and con artists. Other people also used that apartment for dates, and they had keys. It was a whorehouse. Many people had access. As an escort, I never revealed my own address because escorts get stalked a lot. So every date was sent there. There is a back door to that building that is left open 24 hours a day. People also walk up the fire escape. Don't believe that there's only one entrance. The police conveniently retrieved only certain tapes. Yes, folks, the police were imbeciles. My attorneys gave them information on people involved, but they had tunnel vision. They refused to pursue leads and investigate. My fingerprints were on nothing. The laptop I discarded was wiped completely clean, and I owned it for only 2 weeks. It was established nothing relevant was found on it. Also, I was never on the run, ever. That is pure fake news. That's one of the biggest lies. I was on a pre-planned vacation I'd arranged months in advance. I was planning on Paris for a while, since I've been to France many times in the past. I never concealed my identity, ever. I used my own passport, and trust me, I'm well aware of all identification techniques, including facial recognition software, RFID tracking, cell phone towers, vocal recognition, and if I wanted to travel anonymously, it would be very easy, especially with my connections. While in Paris, I had zero idea anyone was looking for me. I don't watch the news or read papers. I was too busy shopping and going to nightclubs. My entire life I partied at nightclubs all over the world, so of course Paris would be no different. The idiot whom I was to work for in Paris turned out to be a complete weirdo. I met him in Washington, D.C. in the past when he worked for an intelligence agency. I left him and decided to try Berlin. A man in Berlin offered to show me around the city. He took me to parties, and we enjoyed the nightlife. He attempted to recruit me into the Berlin sex trafficking scene, and he became increasingly obsessed with me, begging me for sex, bringing underage kids back to his place. I wanted no part of none of this. He stole thousands of dollars from me. I told him to fuck off, and I went to an internet cafe to meet my contact. We were to leave Europe for Russia that night. So I was watching an Ava Gardner film waiting for my contact, and not, I repeat, not looking at anything to do with myself online. That's horrendous fake news circulated disrespectful gestures to me. This crown psychiatrist, I'm told, was sued in the past for hundreds of thousands of dollars for his courtroom lies and errors. So when people are curious as to why I never spoke with the prosecution psychiatrist, those are the reasons. And I had every right not to speak with this biased, pontificating, fat old fool. He was an attention-seeking hypocrite. The judge was always obsessed with his media coverage. He made dreadful comments about me throughout the trial. I had a lot of grounds for appeal, but the liars in the press make Canada's legal system almost impossible with their sensationalization of stories. So no, absolutely not. I never received a fair trial. The Canadian justice system is completely unfair. My trial was rushed. Witnesses lied and perjured themselves. The prosecutors were appalling. The judge was very biased. The police were two-faced, bungling imbeciles, and the jurors were complete idiots, incapable of seeing the facts. The fact is, I was the real victim, and a lot of things were covered up. My trial was corrupt, and I was the victim of abuse. I'm bewildered by this fake narrative. I've avoided the spotlight at all costs for the last 10 years. I refused every internet interview request I've gotten. I'm bombarded with interview requests I turned down. Before my incarceration, I auditioned for a couple of reality shows. Big fucking deal. The media enjoys using a few reality show auditions as undeniable proof of narcissism. So I guess our entire society must be sick since millions of people auditioned for way more reality shows than I did. By the way, I was asked, practically harassed, to participate in these auditions. I never wanted to do any auditions for reality shows. Sorry, folks, this narrative of me being an attention seeker is just more rapidly sensational fake news, peddled by the desperate fools in the media to sell their failing papers. This story is so stupid. David and other online stalkers obsessed with me engaged in a smear campaign, starting this rumor. I had zero involvement in this stupid rumor, and some radio station in Toronto called sedatives, and my manager would sell the drugs on the black market for large amounts of money. This created a large paper trail, which was used at trial to exploit the system. None of this was my idea, and I was actually the victim of domestic abuse throughout my life. My manager even forced me to check into different hospitals to make the stories more believable and obtain more sedatives. It was all against my will. I never ever had any psychiatric issues. I didn't take any of those medications, and I take no medications now. Nothing is wrong with my father in any way, and we all just laugh at these stupid stories. Firstly, I have zero contact with any of my relatives, so don't believe their fake news comments. My mother and I have zero relationship. She contacted me blabbing about some stupid book she was writing with some idiotic co-author. I agreed to see her briefly to work on it, and I quickly kicked her out of my life. The idiotic co-author, I spoke with him once by phone, and that's it. He seemed very unprofessional and borderline idiotic. I refused to promote I refused to even promote this book of lies and ignored it. I didn't even read it. I'm told it was all incoherent ramblings and blatant disregard for the truth. And as for you telling me people are claiming to be in relationships with me, it's all lies. I don't even know any of these people. I don't know who any of them are. I'm told some irrelevant losers who posed for pics with me in the past, or I had brief encounters with, spin lies to gain attention. None of my past relationships comment on me. My ex-fiancés don't comment on me, and anyone claiming otherwise is a complete liar and con artist. Nobody I know speaks with the press, so the lying fake news media interviews irrelevant nobodies I've never met to peddle their papers. Precisely the trickery I despise from the press. I have zero communication with my relatives. My choice. My friends don't speak to the media. Don't believe fake news. I'm not dignifying this with a response. Next. John Bitteroff was a client of mine, and so was Manny Lopez. I was the victim of domestic abuse. While I was living at the Leaside Towers in Toronto, my condo was broken into by Manny Lopez, and he brutally assaulted me. The police in Toronto were completely useless and did nothing. I lived in New York City, and I gave police there info, but the idiotic cops had tunnel vision on me. Yes, folks, the Toronto police are incompetent imbeciles. They have bungled countless cases and are completely useless. Well, I think it's pretty obvious. Next. I was engaged to my ex-fiancé, Ron. He was involved with the Russian Mafia. It's no secret. They played a big part in my life. My life was exactly like the Sopranos in every way. It's the biggest enemy of the people. As you've heard, almost everything reported about me has been a complete lie, and the picture painted is completely false. Society doesn't need the mainstream media any longer since social media exists. Society has once again been fooled by the fake news media. They are corrupt as hell, and laws need to be passed to prevent this from happening again. not answering this stupid question. Next. Absolutely not. More fake news. Next. I was vacationing and seeing clients. My lawyer was being harassed by a predatory tabloid reporter from the London press. My lawyer and I had an appointment with the paper's legal department. We didn't just show up. Then the predatory reporter followed me to a hotel where I was seeing a client. He secretly recorded me saying absolutely nothing. Then I left. This idiot started posting on his social media for millions to see that he just met me. So if he posted online he just met me and millions of people seen it, it wasn't a secret. Then 3 days later he received some threatening email which he falsely accused me of sending. I never sent any threatening email to anyone. Scotland Yard investigated and determined it originated from Amsterdam. Look it up. More lies and fake news. At trial, I never testified as my attorney forbade it. The doctors